Good day, good day. It's Runa here in Iceland. We do continue to introduce to you the fabulous speakers that will be attending and will be giving little workshops on our special small business branding day that will be held at the Blue Lagoon in Iceland, September 6th. And today I have the other Runa, as I chose to call her. Funny enough, we both have the same name, which, by the way, is not that common actually over here in Iceland. So it's Runa speaking to Runa today. And just to tell you a little bit about the other Runa, she has been actively working on sustainable issues, well, all the way since 1990, and has led various awareness projects around the greener future through the years, both for businesses and communities. Her Hotel Hellnar and her guiding light tours were the first companies within the tourism sector in Iceland to be eco-certified back in 2002. Runa is a true pioneer there. Now, as an entrepreneur, Runa has throughout the years run her own companies in various business sectors, such as high fashion, clothing manufacturing, recording, retail, wholesale, publishing, tourism, and the hospitality industry. She's also been a leader in the personal development field in Iceland ever back since 1990. And Runa and we both are part of the European Association of Transformational Leaders, the two Icelandic partners there. Now, as an accomplished published author, she has written 15 books on various subjects, as well as articles and columns for magazines and news sites. So welcome the other Runa.
Thank you so much. Now the name may not be very common, but then we're not any usual women.
Yeah, you mean it comes with the name?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. But strangely enough, and I know people who know both of us, they think that this is quite well, coincidence or not coincidence, just like you point out, maybe not.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing, Runa. I mean, speaking of and thinking of you as a brand, I can definitely say the first thing that I think about when I think about you as a brand, I see something green. I see something that is sustainable. I see something that is a passionate advocate for green, sustainable world. And my first question for you today is really, when did you first get interested into this subject?
I cannot exactly pinpoint it, but I think when the book Save the Planet was published, I decided that I had to, do my very best to save the planet. So I started thinking of various ways in which to do that, either with groups or individually. And then for a while I ran the first metaphysical bookstore in Iceland. I tend to do things for 5 to 15 years and then move on to something different. So I ran the first metaphysical bookstore for 5 years in Iceland, and I think I was the first person to celebrate Earth Day on April 22nd by advertising a lot of books about how to, protect the environment. And of course, nobody was interested, so I ended up owning all the books and reading them myself. That kind of, inspired me even more. And then I was lucky enough to meet Bill Mollison. He's an Australian, and he's kind of the father of the permaculture, how should we say, way of growing things and in a sustainable way, and possibly putting up little homesteads or something where you grow your own vegetables and run livestock or breed fish or something. And he came to Iceland in 1994, and I think he kind of lit a fire that has been burning ever since, that I really want to make an effort to change, do my bit and inspire as many people as I possibly can to do theirs.
Yeah, so that's what really lightened your fire there in the beginning.
Yes.
So in your opinion, how does being sustainable affect the business world?
It's been slow for the business world to understand that there's money in it, and until the business world understands that, they're going to be acting, in a slow fashion. So it's taken them a long time to see the benefits, but I think today most people see, you usually save money when you run your company according to sustainable practices, because you record more, you check on how much you spent on electricity and such. And I can say, when I started with my company, then I could compare the bills that I paid for electricity the year before, and then the first year it was certified, and I could save, or I saved 20% in electric cost, and that's huge for any business.
Yeah.
So I think the savings are one thing that businesses will see. And the other thing is that, when I started back in around 2000, people weren't so interested in going green. But today you hear more and more talk of it. And it's almost like people put their businesses in a different niche by having a environmental policy, or advertising on their web pages or their Facebook pages that their business is green. And with added awareness, people will choose that above many other things. And I think, therefore, the sooner you put your business in there, the better it's going to be in the long run for you.
Exactly. So speaking of branding, because of our Small Business Branding Day, so the effect that it will have on your brand to be known that your business is a green, sustainable business is then tremendous.
I think so. And the other thing is that, for example, of course, I didn't notice so much what the effect was when I was, for example, running my hotel, because when you're running a hotel, you're just, doing your best every day. But when I sold the business, then the buyer had been running other hotels that are not eco-certified. And he discovered, when he went to sell this new property that he all of a sudden had, that because it was eco-certified, he was getting higher paying customers, and he was also getting customers that had not wanted to deal with him in the other hotels.
Wow! So he really understood that he was showing really what was unique about his hotel being.
Yeah. And I think that he saw the benefits, and he told me, and I think he was very surprised that this could actually bring him clients and customers that, as I say, would stay longer and pay more, which of course is what we all want.
Absolutely, absolutely. So and many people find that, like you're saying, growing green is complicated, and therefore they think that that's really not for small businesses.
Yeah, I think that people say, yeah, it's too much bother. I don't want to do it. I have to keep records or whatever. Of course, when you run a small business, the thing you should check for is, for example, how much you use on electricity, and if you can in a way reduce that, because money saved is money earned.
Yeah.
And I think we all need to look at it that even though it's a small amount on an annual basis, then it will really add up when you think 5 years into the future. And we need to think at least that far into the future when we're thinking about, for example, running our business and how we want our financial spreadsheet to look like at the end of the year. So money saved is money earned. And then the other part is that once you put something into place, like it may take 3 weeks to get everyone used to, for example, printing on both sides of the page that they're printing on the printer, or using excess paper as scrap or something. It's just little things, but they all add up in the end. And so it's just like to have, let's say, 10 things put down on a piece of paper. That's your environmental policy. This is how you're going to manage your sustainable practices. And then you just start working it. It's just like everything else. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're marketing or something, everyone has to get used to new marketing techniques. And in a while, and I think the wonderful thing is that if a business decides to do this and the staff gets involved, what usually happens is that the staff takes their practices to their home.
Yeah, so it does have a ripple effect.
And also, when you tell your customers that you're green, they're going to maybe ask questions. They're going to wonder what that means, and you can tell them, and they'll say, yeah, okay, maybe I can do that too. And so we're having a much bigger effect than I believe most people think they're having, because we become a role model.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really what
even though we're small, with maybe two, even a staff of 2 or 3 or something, then you're affecting these people, and they can affect 3 more or something. So it's, in a way, it's a little bit like multi-level marketing. You add on to the life.
Yeah, yeah. So really, when you do this, and as a small business owner, no matter how big actually your business is, if you want your current client and your who will then be talking about you, I mean, talking about your word of mouth, if they are talking about you as here's someone who is aware of green sustainable way and is doing it in is part of the brand, then that is already something that is a role model, and I think that's quite cool, like you mentioned. Can you then, how does one start implementing environmental policy?
First, you make a list of how you want, what does sustainability mean to you? And for example, in some areas, it may mean that you want to hire only local staff, that you're not bringing in staff from other countries, because it also has to do with the social and the cultural thing around you.
Yeah.
And that you, for example, when I ran the hotel, that I used money annually to put up more signs around the hotel in the area, have educational material for people who came to stay with me, and just continue to be like, let other people that I was doing business with know what I was doing, and that I wanted to buy, I would do business with them if they had the products that were either eco-certified or we could say had the least harmful effect on the environment. And so you kind of make a decision how you want to make the plan, and then you could say, like, you make an environmental management system, which says, like, from now on I only buy eco-labeled office paper, for example. From now on I will turn off all computers at the end of the day because I want to save electricity. Put the electric gadget that you run in your office on an extension cord, and then switch that off at the end of the day. Be aware of how much heat you use. Do you use blinds that keep out the heat, but also keep in the heat in the winter, keep out the cold as well? So all these kind of little things that you just need to assess every area and say, what can you do in each place? And that's why I've gone to businesses to tell them, like, I go and assess the company, and I make a list of the things that they can do to start implementing their policy and become green. And I think also, of course, I've been doing this since like the late 1980s, early 1990s. So I'm really aware. And for example, I was buying something from a company the other day, and as a gift, they gave me like a shaker bottle for, a juice or a nutritional drink.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I noticed was it was made of plastic, and the first thing that I noticed, it said it was BPA free. Now, BPA has been a harmful chemical in plastic, so I looked at it and I said, oh, okay, so they're environmentally conscious.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't see anything about a sustainability policy or anything, but I just noticed immediately that this told me that at least they were conscious of the fact that they did not want to give away plastic bottles that contain BPA. So I think, just these little things, and people can promote their green practices on their webpage, on their Facebook site. At the end of the year, you can tell people how much electricity you've saved compared to the year before, and how much better you're doing year by year if you continue to do that. How much paper you buy versus what you bought the year before and if it's been reduced. So you can use it to tell your clients and the people you do business with that you're really consciously aware, and it doesn't take so much time. Usually all these numbers are in your bookkeeping anyway, so it's not as if you're going out of your way to do it. You just have to look up the numbers.
And it's really interesting. What you're really saying as well is that by measuring it, you are seeing the results.
Absolutely.
And it's actually interesting because talking to the speakers who will be giving workshops at our Small Business Branding Day at the Blue Lagoon this autumn, Derry was talking about creating business strategy, creating the plan for your business. And I really loved how he was saying it really isn't about business, having that normal business plan. It was more about the purpose for it, what you want to see as a result of it. And then Suki was talking about the financial thing of it and the plan there. And now you come along and you talk about the plan as a small business owner that you can do that makes your brand unique by going and thinking of the green issues that affects us all on this planet. So it's interesting to see basically that we are going to be doing, I forgot even Thorana talking about the plan on the social media, the strategy there. I guess that once people leave for that day, they will have a bunch of plans that they can implement instantly in their own business.
Yeah, and I think also the thing is that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So it has to do with finances, strategy in terms of marketing plans, how much income you're going to make and everything. So if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So it applies to everything. And I think also the wonderful thing, I've listened to Suki and I've listened to Derry and Thorana, and I know all these people have so much to share. So for any small business owner, they're going to learn so much. It's going to be so beneficial, and they're going to leave the weekend thinking completely differently about their business and their role in the business.
In their role in the business, exactly. Can you tell us then your part on the Saturday, the 6th of September? Can you tell us a little bit, what will you give to our audience that day?
Well, I will show people how they can measure it. I will teach them how to make an environmental policy for their business. I will, list up the 10 most important things or the easiest things that they can start, because it's always about the low-hanging fruit anyway. And so they'll go back and they'll be able to look at their business. Even while we do the workshop, they'll be able to see, how does this fit into my business and what do I need to do differently? So I'd be there to help them to figure that out. And then when they go back home, they can completely, start implementing it immediately.
Immediately, exactly. And start to see the benefits, start to see the breadcrumbs rolling in as big loaves. Yeah,
I think so, and of course, when you have so many wonderful speakers, it's going to be a little bit like you're overloaded at the end of the weekend. But I'm sure all of us will do our very best to leave people going home with something in their hands that they can start implementing in each, we could say, sector of their own business, so that they'll be like 3 months from the 6th of September, they'll be in great shape in terms of the changes they've made.
Absolutely. It's really about the transformation that they can step into. And I really love what you say, that they have something tangible they can start immediately, and they can see that it's something that they don't have to wait for anything to happen. They can actually just make that happen step by step, instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
I think that's the most important thing. That's why we actually want to go to events like these, because we don't want to, learn a lot and then need to learn even more to be able to implement it. I think the best thing is that we're going to learn quite a lot, but we're also going to have ways in which to start implementing it almost immediately.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I'm already thinking, how can I do even more ways to make my own business green, listening to you. And so, is it expensive? Maybe this is a stupid question, but is it expensive to run a business that is green and sustainable?
No, it's you can make it less expensive because you save money in one area and you might spend a little money in another area in terms of how you want to do it. For example, whenever I'm in book publishing, so whenever I have something printed, I always do business with a printer that has an eco label, which in Iceland is usually the Nordic Swan. And there are several now, so I can ask for offers from all of them. And then, of course, I choose the best offer, but it's still eco-labeled.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit today, is that more and more people are eco-labeled. So, and once you start thinking of how you can save money, and that's money earned, then you can afford to spend a little bit more on something else in order to lift your green, the green part of your brand.
Yeah, the green part of your brand. You talked earlier about that really the green sustainable way it can be and is part of your corporate social responsibility, which I think for most of us, when we think of corporate social responsibility, we see the corporate world. I think their responsibility.
I think we see Shell and Exxon.
Same thing for us, the small business owners.
It used to start out many years ago as the 3 Ps, people, planet, profits.
Yeah.
So that you have to look at all this, and of course people means that the social part of it. Planet means the environment, and then profit means that even though you want to be green and sustainable, you also want to make a profit. Mm-hmm. And what's happened today is that people are choosing green and sustainable businesses and practices above the others in a much larger degree than they did maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah. So
I believe that the shift that has happened in the business world towards the green and we could say the greener companies is very apparent. It used to be somewhere below, anywhere from 2 to 10%. I believe we're close to 25% of the customers or the consumers now. And the more we do ourselves, but also the more we tell our customers what we're doing, mm-hmm. the greater awareness they will have of the fact that we're role models that they may want to copy, but we're also responsible, and that means that they feel they can trust our business much better.
Yeah. So wow, which is the ultimate thing for all businesses.
You want to be trusted whatever line of business you're in, and if you can say, and I'm not talking about greenwash, because some people say they're green, but they're not really. So it's implementing simple things in the business, and you can actually say, I'm working according to green principles.
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful.
That's much easier than people think, and then when you start explaining it to them, they go like, oh yeah, it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
I think the blocks and are really in people's head.
Yeah, and like so many other blocks, it's all in our heads.
So it's overcoming these obstacles, and then it's the green path right away, right ahead.
And doing it in an easy way. So if we wrap it up, it's been really interesting to get this insight, and I'm really excited to listen to your workshop and take part in your workshop on September 6th. And by the way, for our audience who are listening to this live, the early bird rate for attending actually expires tomorrow. So if you wanna use the opportunity and even save money, talking about saving,
which is great,
do that today and tomorrow, and then the price will go up for $200, which I think still is a good rate for this content of only $497 to attend the whole day.
Oh, it's an amazing chance for people to listen to such wonderful teachers who have such a wealth of knowledge that, you know, it's almost like a giveaway. But the thing is that in this case too, it's money saved is money earned. So if you go ahead and book for $297 today, you're saving $200 that you can then use on something else. Yeah. And the Lagoon is a fabulous place, you know, fabulous place to be at. So we're going to be in a wonderland, doing wonderful things.
Yeah, and creating the magic for our own business, for our own brands.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
So if we wrap it up, if there will be 3 things that you would like to leave behind in our audience mindset right now, what would it be so that they can start their own green?
I would say, like, you know, whatever type of business you're running, look at, for example, how much paper you're using, how much electricity you're using, if all the lights are turned off in the office at the end of the day, if all the appliances are turned off, because even though, for example, if you put let's say a computer on standby, it's still going to be sucking electricity out of the wall. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be using up quite a lot, you know, for 365 nights a year. Yeah. So just be aware that any electrical appliance that you can turn off and any lights you can turn off, they're saving you quite a lot in electricity, which, by the way, continues to go up. Yeah. And then I think it's also like in terms of if you have a cafeteria or you have a little kitchen in your business, like, are you choosing styrofoam cups, or are you choosing porcelain cups, or are you choosing the reusable coffee cups with lids on them? I mean, look at this, because all of this is going to not only affect the way in which you run your business, but also your health. And I think that's the big issue. For example, if you're always drinking coffee out of paper cups or styrofoam cups, you're getting a lot of particles from these cups along with the hot drink into your body, and they're affecting your hormonal system. So check it out.
Check it out, yeah. I have my porcelain cup here with me right now, so I feel good about that one.
Perfect. And I have my reusable coffee cup, you know, that's made of BPA-free plastic, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't figure anything else. Runa, thank you so much for a beautiful insight. I look forward to being with you next in September. So people go to branded.is for more information about our day. Runa, thank you so much. Speak to you soon. It's bless from me.